So let's finish reading about communications in the Marriage Bootcamp book. Kathy and Gary's story. Kathy was, hold on, I gotta pull up my sleeves. I'm a little hot. Carrie was furious with Gary. She said Gary is sneaky. Okay, that's one thing we're gonna address in a marriage. And as we prepare for a marriage, do not go into a marriage being sneaky. That's a problem. And she doesn't feel that she can trust him. You don't go into a marriage feeling like you cannot trust your spouse, because then why would you want to marry that person? Just to say that you got the ring, or you got his, or you got his last name? No. Trust each other, you know. Put your trust in the Lord first. Okay, so Gary spent $700 for expensive gym, good Lord, membership. What kind of gym membership is that? Good Lord. And didn't tell Kathy about it. See, that's a problem. Because they didn't communicate. That's why it's a problem. She only found out about it when she was looking through this credit card statement. Uh-oh, that is a no. She shouldn't have found out that way, right? In the past, they always discussed large purchases together before spending the money. Compounding the situation, Kathy's mother had just had surgery and was staying with them while she recovered. Between caring for her mother and caring for all their 3 small children, Kathy Holmes' life was pretty challenging. She was feeling exhausted, unattractive, and miserable. The fight erupted one morning when Kathy awoke to find that Gary was gone. When she finally got a hold of him, the first thing she said to him, "We are done." Not surprisingly, Gary viewed the situation differently. He felt they could afford the gym membership and that Kathy was being irrational to object. She was simply being grudging him the time to work out. Yeah, but goodness gracious, $700? Like, that could be money you're saving, or, you know, go towards a bill, or, first of all, pay your tithes and your offering, but good Lord, for a membership? I mean, unless you just really got it like that. Or still be smart about it, you know. Understanding how each of them interpreted the situation was the first step in this communication conflict. At Marriage Boot Camp, we use the ABCs. Remember, A is for action, B is for belief, C is for consequence. All right. So we use the ABCs to break down communication into 3 component parts. Pay very careful attention to this section, and maybe even flag these pages, because we will refer to it in the following chapters. Excuse me. And you will need to work the steps repeatedly. So the ABC formula is A equals action. See right here. A equals action. Every situation begins with an action. B equals to belief. Every action is a belief about the action. C equals consequence. Based on a belief, a consequence or a feeling or a following. Let me say that again. Based on the belief, a consequence or feeling follows. To test okay. I'm over here trying to remember how to pronounce this word. I'm being honest. Okay, let me just keep it anyway. Okay, so basically to test you, I like you and your mate to take a look at this picture and separately describe the action and the belief as you see. Then discuss the consequence, how this situation makes you feel from your perspective and what you think will happen next. So this picture right here they were talking about. All right. You may have said something like, okay, action, she's talking on the phone. That's what I was thinking. But belief, he believes that she's wasting time gossiping with her girlfriends. The consequence, okay, this makes sense. He feels angry and accuses her of wasting time and starts a fight. Do not go into a marriage being angry with each other. Okay, because the marriage is not about being angry with each other. You could also say something like this. Action, she's on the phone at work. Belief, he believes that she's hard at work providing for her family. See, I had got the action part right, but then I was trying to figure out like the belief part. Yeah, because I didn't have a consequence yet because I couldn't figure out like the belief. But now understanding, okay, so then the consequence will be like, which is a good consequence. He feels good about her and this goodwill flavors their home. So the point of the illustration above is that two people often see the same action but interpret it very differently. Based on how you understand it, the consequence can be disrupted of the connection you feel with your mate, and that can lead to conflict. Personal beliefs are not universal beliefs. In this case of Gary and Kathy, they had very different beliefs about the exact same action. So if they had different beliefs, that means like one of them had a bad belief and the other one had a good belief. But they should be on the same page, right? Being in a marriage. Talking to my marriage people out there. Right? All right. So, action. Gary goes to the gym and is gone when Kathy wakes up. So, should the belief be... the belief to me shouldn't be negative, right? Let's see what the belief is going to be. Gary believes that going to the gym is something that he is entitled to do and it's good for him or for his family. So I feel like the two, like, okay, so to avoid the conflict of having arguments, at least, like once you have came into an agreement of, you know, okay, are we going to pay this amount for this membership? So once y'all come to an agreement and that agreement is a positive agreement, then once it, like if she sleep, don't use that excuse and be like, oh, you was just asleep so I couldn't let you know. I didn't want to wake you. So if you didn't want to wake her, the only thing you could have did was, okay, tell the children. Make sure you tell your mom, you know, I went such and such place. I'll be back at such and such time. Second, could be, and you can use all of them really. Write a small note, put it on her nightstand where she's gonna see it, or put it on top of her phone, or send her a text message if you're just a technology person, or put a romantic little cute note on the bathroom window, you know, or on the refrigerator, or switch it up and buy her like I love you thinking of you card, but put it in the card and put it on in the kitchen or wherever she always go that she'll see it, you know. But don't just say, don't use that excuse as, oh, well, you was asleep so I didn't want to wake you so I just went on my own and I'm coming back. That's, to me, that's not honor. That's not submitting to your husband. And your wife, like, I feel like that would be disrespectful. And yeah. And that's one thing I don't want to go into a marriage thinking that, oh, my marriage is going to be disrespectful. Or I'm going to be disrespectful to my husband, because I'm not. So that's how I'm preparing, okay? All right, so it says Gary believes that going to the gym is something that he's entitled to do, and it's good for him and for his family. When Gary goes to the gym, it relaxes him and makes him perform better at work, which makes him a better provider for his family. Kathy's perspective or belief is that Gary goes to the gym to avoid her and the kids and to flirt with the female trainers. So I wonder, like, I would like to know, Kathy, like, what made you feel that your husband is flirting with female trainers? Like, do you have videos? Have you went to the gym and you saw him flirting with women? Or you just know your husband is just a plain out flirt and not faithful in your marriage? So is that what made you think that way? Or you're just assuming it and your assumption is wrong? I would love to know, Kathy. Because being healthy is important, like, you know, it really is. But, okay, so she thinks Gary is sneaky. Oh, I just realized, oh, Gary. But now, Gary. Not Gary with the T, huh? Yeah. But anyways, I love Gary with the T. All right, anyway. So the consequence of their difference in perspective is conflict. Gary feels that the only way he can take care of himself is to sneak around and hide from Kathy. So I wonder why he feel like that. Is it something that Kathy has done to him to make him feel like he just has to sneak around and hide from Kathy? Kathy feels neglected and unloved. Of course that will make you feel unloved and neglected. But that's why it's so important to communicate. Communicate. Even if you're writing letters out, speaking it out loud, praying together, communicate. And then, yeah, so Kathy feels neglected, unloved in her anger. So, and she lashes out at Gary, confirming Gary's belief. The fact that Gary kept the gym membership a secret confirms Kathy believes that she cannot trust him. Boot camp call to action. ABC conflict diagram. We're now going to focus on one issues that create conflict in your relationship. Make sure that you pick an issue that is small so that you can stay focused on learning how to communicate. Let's take this issue and diagram it out like you would diagram a sentence. We are now not going to try to solve, sorry, my words is getting a little twisted here, this issue right now. That comes later. You will label the A for action. What is the action that starts the conflict? B, belief. What do you believe this action is? This will be very personal and will most likely be different from your mate's belief about the action. C is the consequence. How do you feel about this and what happens next? Getting your mate involved in this exercise is the ideal scenario, but if you cannot, try to put yourself in your mate's shoes and do your best to answer for him and her, or him or her. Here are a few examples of common conflict topics: money, sex, disciplining the children, friendships outside the marriage, time management, electronics, being on time, family time. Use whatever illustration style you want. Write it, draw it, chart it, or whatever, just to be sure to label according to the ABC destinations. Here's some examples. Partner 1. When you come home late from work. Okay, so that's the action. When you come home late from work. Okay. B, belief. I believe that you are procrastinating because you don't want to spend time with me. C, consequence. I feel hurt and anger and give you the cold shoulder when you walk in the door. So that's from partner 1 now. So partner 2. When I come home late from work, which is the action. Remember, our ABCs, okay? In the marriage boot camp. B, I believe that it's no big deal. B is the belief, remember. I believe that it's no big deal because I work hard to provide for my family. Now, I can understand that as long as he's being honest about providing for his family and not using work as an excuse, but you're providing for your family, do that. But don't use that as an excuse to have you know how these people be saying, oh, they got a work wife now, or that's foolishness. That's saying, like, what they do that at? Because I never read that part in no Bible. So therefore, that is not accepted by God. To be having you have other women on the side of your marriage, but you're using your excuse that you're working hard for your family, but are you telling the whole truth about it? So keep it that way. Provide for your family, but keep it that way and be faithful in your marriage. And then C, which is remember consequence, right? Yeah. So I feel good about myself and expect appreciation and not a fight. Engaging your mate. In marriage boot camp, we often see one partner wanting to work on the relationship and one partner who is to engage. Frequently, one partner simply does not want to fight and avoids engagement. If that describes your situation, here are some suggestions for starting a conversation with your mate. First, do a heart check. Be sure that your reason for wanting to engage is about enhancing your relationship and growing personally. Okay. And if your motivation is a desire to be right, to punish your mate, or to win an argument, you're setting your marriage up to fail. And right here, I'm looking at my Bible, which is King James Version. Observation about life, Proverbs 27:1. Boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. Let another man praise thee, and not thy own mouth, a stranger and not thy own lips. Now, engaging your mate. Second, tee up the conversation with affirmation. Tell your mate you've been reading a book about marriage out of a desire to be closer. And it's important, communicate with your husband, communicate with your wife, and see with him saying with the author saying right here, tell your mate you've been reading a book about marriage. So communicate with that with your spouse. See if your spouse wants to have a book reading time together. Then if he say no, it's okay, just you can tell me about it later, or however, whatever your agreement is about, then do that. But that's another part of engaging your mate as well. Y'all have story time, like we're still having story time together. Have story time with your spouse, switch it up, make it romantic and fun. And then y'all still are learning, but y'all still engaging each other in your marriage. So tell your mate you've been reading a book about marriage out of the desire to be closer, that you love him or her, and that you want to be the best possible mate that you can be. Third, get specific. Tell your mate that you found a quick exercise that might help clear up some miscommunication Tell them that you diagram out the ABCs. Remember, A's action, B belief, C consequence of a blank, and fill out in the blank with a description of the issue at hand, and that it help you see his or her side of the issue a little bit more clear. Say you try to put yourself in their shoes to see it from his or her point of view, as per the instructions in the book, and now you want to check in to see if you're on target. That should start the dialogue. Finally, if you have been successful in engaging your partner, share your diagrams with each other. If you're still flying solo at this point, continue reading this next section, because it will give you very important tool for communication in the marriage.